little bit longer today. Let's see if I can get the intro started, though.
In the park where the airwaves call my name, while stateside folks are at Hamvention's fame. I'm here with my rig as the sun shines bright, connecting souls from day through night. Out in the open, under skies so wide, broadcasting far and feeling pride. While Walt is getting blisters walking Hamvention's aisles, we talk about ham radio in our shacks inside. Calling CQ on all open bands, enjoying the airwaves with all our glands. Out in the open, under skies so wide, broadcasting far and feeling pride.
And just so everything's correct, and we just dropped Walt. Hope Walt comes back. Walt's on his way back from Hamvention, so we have Ham Radio Dude substituting. I managed to point the right way on the first try. We have Ham Radio Dude substituting for him. And just so it's correct, that song is made by the AI tool Udio. I think it says so in the terms of use that you have to give them credit.
It was a awesome. I love that. That's great. We're gonna hear a lot of ham radio songs coming out in the next year.
I think so. Yeah,
I would believe so.
I'd like to point out two things. The first thing is that our intro song is now longer than most of my videos. And Sean, you are aware that we can all see you dancing even though the intro is playing, yeah?
Yep.
and there's the moonshine, yeah.
And
Where's your banjo?
Okay,
And this is actually a real Stetson skit, just to know it. It's just not the purpose.
I'm just going to say that Walt has a little bit of latency, but how was Hamvention, Walt?
It was amazing. Had a great time. Driving back right now on the mountains of Virginia, believe it or not, with my friend Mike here, WM4ST. He and I trekked together. Probably losing you. So just wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm going to get out of here and cruise on down the road. I got about 3 more hours to drive.
Enjoy your drive home, Walt, and we'll see you next Sunday.
All right, see you later, Morton. See you guys.
See ya.
Yep.
And we actually managed less than 3 minutes into the show, and it's not the Anything But Hamvention show.
And I put so much effort into that song. Oh my god!
Did you write the lyrics yourself?
I think I wrote the second one. You know, the first one was the AI, and the second one mentioning Walt. That was my evil doing.
Awesome.
Doesn't even rhyme properly, but nobody notices.
It was awesome. But we're not going to do that intro song every week. But there is.
It's a one-timer.
Yeah, there is an opening for specific intro songs for every guest or every topic.
All right, now you open the floodgates.
Yeah, I can't come on your show anymore.
I just got to ask, maybe everyone hasn't heard this, but you know what? This was sort of a country and western intro song. Do you know what you get if you play a country and western song backwards?
Yeah,
You've heard it?
Yeah, I did. Like your wife comes back, your truck starts working again, and your dog.
I just have to get that off my chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
It's going to be a little bit of a different show today because we don't have a topic to go astray from. So we can just go on as normal today.
If I may, that's my ideal show.
I just watched your stream, Sean, and while we're trying our hardest to keep this well polished, you have another way of running your stream.
That's right. We wake up and we say, let's stream.
Let's start with our ham radio weeks, probably, and we could probably do a whole week today because we don't have a topic. As Steve says, we don't have a topic. We have a topic to avoid. And we might talk about Hamvention as well, but I'm sure everyone knows where everything is on Hamvention by this point on Hamvention weekend, even if you haven't been there. Tobias, how has your ham radio week been?
Yeah, I've recovered from last week's escapade, so maybe I quickly flash a picture, but don't embiggen it because I don't have the copyrights or the picture rights for everybody. So just to give you a quick impression, this is the bunch of scouts that I dealt with last weekend. And hang on a second, let me flip on. So after working hard for a day, I got this nice badge. So there was some CW exercise game being held as part of some paper trail chase. So that was last weekend. And yeah, then I got this Bluetooth speaker kit and made a small video with a little walkthrough. Still have to assemble it. And as a matter of fact, I just loaded the little SMD bug onto the PCB. Because I thought if I do a live stream, I probably don't want to do the SMD storing. Need a bit of concentration to get that on. And yeah, today was a very relaxed trip with how did somebody say in the Discord? It is a bring your own cat cafe. So I did that. That was my ham radio week so far.
I'm thinking if it's that fast with everyone, we can think about bringing the ham radio week back. Let's see, Sean, how has your ham radio week been since you haven't been to Hamvention?
Zero contacts. No, hey, check it out. I'm going to give you a couple spoilers and all this good stuff. But first, obviously, I made a video about this cool inline fuse thing. Fun video. I had a good time. I learned a little bit. 34-foot fiberglass mast came in, so I've been testing that out. It's about 9 inches shorter than the Gigadoo 25. And it's got, I don't math on stream, 8 extra feet, we'll call it. Over the Gigadoo 25. So that's been pretty fun to play around with. And probably the most interesting thing that I'm working on is, have you heard of the Kraken SDR?
Yes, I have one.
Do you? Oh,
Yes.
I'm excited to talk to you.
Bob has one of everything in ham radio.
You must. That thing
I
is.
haven't unboxed it yet. I'll do a deboxing video at some point. It's still in the box. I was on the Kickstarter for that, and I got it once the Kickstarter shipped.
That is so
Have you used
awesome. I plan on going to use it tomorrow in a real world scenario. So yeah, I've been playing around with that, and my problem that I'm facing right now, which I am sitting on and thinking about, is I don't have a top on my vehicle. My vehicle's a convertible, so I don't really have anywhere to mount the 5 antennas, and so I probably gonna have to engineer something tonight to kind of temporarily work. But yeah, that's the fun I've been having. Oh, and yesterday, it's not really ham radio related yet, but yesterday I ended up at the beach and watching this beautiful sunset, and finally it hit me. This is a POTA location. So I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go do more POTAs at that place because there was a beautiful sunset, and it was right off the road. And why wouldn't I? So yeah.
I saw the picture you sent me, and I did not know that Illinois and Wisconsin could be that beautiful.
Yeah.
I think Walt's into something like that, like POTA on the beach or something like that.
I don't think that's freshwater beaches, though. Jetted.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, it was surprising. Well, I don't want to say surprising because it's kind of like I don't want to call it even a hidden secret, but it was there. But what I always saw, Bigfoot Beach State Park, it's in Lake Geneva, Illinois, is across the street. And when I finally looked at the map, I realized actually it extends out onto the beach shore, across the street onto the beach shore, and then into the water a little bit too. So yeah, we're going to have some fun this summer.
Did you call that Lake Geneva?
Lake Geneva, but not the Lake Geneva that you might think. Switzerland, right?
It's actually there's only non-Swiss people calling it Lake Geneva. The Swiss call it Lac Léman, but we have one of these in Europe as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's pretty big for what I understand, right?
It is. I have a funny story about that because there's right next to Lac Le Mans, there's a water bottling company. What is it called? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I probably shouldn't insult them on a live stream anyway. But there's a spring that they bottle water from that spring, and the amount of water being shipped from that location is about 10 times as much as comes out of that spring. And that factory is right next to Lac Le Mans and on the French side. So it's not all spring water.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But it is smoke on the water on that lake, though, Bob.
It used to be in the 70s, but I think that it's cleared up by now.
Yeah.
So I saw them live, by the way, on the Tons of Rock a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. That was fun.
Is there fire in the sky too? Is that right?
Fire in the sky. Yeah.
Okay, I got the reference. All right. But yeah, that was pretty much my radio week, and that's it. No
Awesome.
context, zero context.
I see Tim's in the chat. I'm gonna get to you, Tim, and talk a little bit about a commenter when it's my turn here. But Kjetil, how was your ham radio week?
It's been quiet. As you know, there's been some iffy and varying band conditions, to say it that way. But I had a lot of fun doing 6-meter POTA. I got 6 QSOs. On a 6-meter from a POTA, which is nice. That was with a 20-meter antenna that I just tuned over, so that was nice. Really interesting, like really narrow opening down to France and Italy. Must have been like 5 degrees or something like that on the map. That I got, at least where I got spotted on FT8 and FT4, or only FT8. So that was fun. Then I've been on a non-ham radio related course, learned and got certified to use the TETRA net that we have in Norway, which is used for emergency communications, and got radio for that. And then I've been traveling, meeting family, being out in the boat fishing, had an eyeball QSO yesterday, had a repeater QSO for once. That's interesting. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the week. No ham radio video from me this week. I didn't have anything interesting to make, so I just made a fusion video instead, or a cat modeling video. That's about it for me.
Yeah, but that's a decent week. Bob?
Yeah, I can do this in reverse order. Maybe I got bored today, so I went out and tried some Parks on the Air from November Oscar 1567, which is my local drive-in park, and experienced the same, well, I wouldn't say bad, but let's say difficult band conditions. So I was there for a little more than an hour, logged 20 contacts, and discovered how to use the voice keyer on the 705. That's always a nice feature to have on really, really slow days. So I'm going to be using that a lot more. And the day before, I went to Sweden at some mountains around Torsby is the place. Fairly uneventful trip. It's a bit of a drive, 4 hours each way, I think, about. The first mountain was a drive up, so I drove up on the evening. I got there and slept in the car, and I activated. I had that mountain done before 9 local time in the morning. That was a good start. The next one was, let's see if I can find the reference, Sierra Mike Victor Lima 005. That was a very hard climb, at least for a fat middle-aged man. But the view from on top of that mountain, that was just fantastic. So I would, if I'd known about that fantastic view, I'd have saved that mountain for the day after and done the SSA contest from up there. I was just sitting up there there was a table and everything, and sitting up there with a fantastic view. Is a really, really nice Summits on the Air experience.
Was that a harder climb than the ones in Western Norway?
No.
Okay.
It was doable. That was just torture. That you probably have the reference for it. I'd say just don't do it. There are so many nice mountains in your part of the country. Don't do that one. It's just going to ruin your day. But coming down from that, I had a bit of a nap in the car. So It's a prerogative of people being middle-aged and fat. And I went for one last summit, which was, I can't remember which one. It has to be this one. Sierra Mike Victor Lima 040. And by that time, the bands were completely shot. So I was, after sitting there for probably half an hour, I had 2 contacts on the sideband. And I got to use my newly discovered FD8 on iPhone solution, which is something called SDR Control Mobile. It's an app that you can download for iPhones, and it connects over Wi-Fi to the 705. So there's absolutely no cables. I didn't have to bring anything extra to be able to activate on FD8 from that mountaintop. And even with that solution, I struggled, but I got the last 2 that I needed. So yeah, I managed that activation as well. So got 3 Swedish mountains in this weekend. And I have a video actually of what that looks like, that app. So if you want to check it out, there's a YouTube channel. You can see a short video. Lasts a lot shorter than our new intro. So guaranteed. That's the beauty of YouTube Shorts. It's a video for the attention span deficient viewers like me.
Yeah,
I think that's about my week.
That's not a bad week though. Let's see, what have I done? I've done some 6 meter, which led me to because Jonathan M0JSX posted a video on his channel about how to make an easy delta loop for 6 meters. Built that on Tuesday, I think. I haven't had time to test it out portable because I haven't really been on the radio when it's been openings on 6. Easy antenna to build, took me 20 minutes, I think. And I cut my thumb about 3 millimeters deep because middle-aged men are not supposed to use sharp knives. I did that. I've done 2 PODA. I did a PODA on Friday. Nothing to write home about there. Attempted a PODA rove today, a 5-park rove. That is gutsy, to say it at least, on the conditions today. Ended up doing 4 parks, so it wasn't too bad, but it was a struggle. Used about 4 hours of airtime to activate 4 parks, with about exactly 10 contacts on each park. And then last night, comments started coming in on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to share some pictures here because I want to talk a little bit about how people should behave when commenting, and that they should remember that there's actually people on the other side of the keyboard and the screen that they address the comments to. So let's find the right window here and share it.
And yeah, I think this is going to be upsetting. So don't make me come over there and beat you up. Not you, Morten.
Because about a little bit over a year ago, I released a video about the Magitenna, which is a commercially made Rubikov antenna by M0CVO. And then yesterday, this blew up because the private man 3301, which he states he have no affiliation with Mike Zero CVO, and he's totally unconnected with him in any way. But he despises me talking about this antenna, and there's nothing that states magic on the antenna. I would state otherwise, though, because when you call an antenna Magitenna, it's certainly a wordplay on magic. So I replied to him. I explained to him that it's a 421 with a 7.6 meter radiating wire, makes it a Rubikov. And I've never said that it's a bad antenna, but there's no magic in it and all that. And then, as I usually do, I thank the trolls for their input. And then he, because Tim, Golf 5 Tango Mike, also commented on the same video. So apparently Tim has lost a subscriber now due to him liking my video. And he's just as bad as me for making an antenna, a video about this antenna. But it doesn't stop there, though. Then he goes on to comment back on me that I'm the only person saying that there's magic in it, and that I chuckled in the video because I said it's just a box with a 421, which it technically is. What it doesn't mention though is that I say at the end of the video that the antenna is a decent performer. So I got a little bit mad and I got him to shut up with this comment, because the people that make ham radio content like us, we don't really make any money of it. We actually spend a lot of our free time and a lot of money to make this content. And I don't really, comments don't really hit me at all. But this comment actually kept me awake for a little bit last night, because it seems like he's watched the video, but I don't really see how he can say that I'm spiteful of Mike Zero CVO or anything. And I just wish people could actually understand that there's people spending a decent amount of money and time to make videos on YouTube and make amateur radio content, and most of us don't make a dime doing it.
No, and also Magitena, the first thing I think about there is magic.
Yeah,
like that is a wordplay on that word, basic. That there's no other way to look at it.
And Stuart says that the British courts are likely to find that Magitena implies some magical properties.
Yeah. Like another only other thing would be if it was a mag loop. Then,
yeah.
Then I would think that like it's a magnetic thing, but no, not this. So and it is sad. And every now and then there are some people that leave some rude comment. One thing is the one that are sarcastic and that you understand, but sarcasm is so hard to translate correctly through a keyboard. It's so easy to misunderstand it.
But the thing is here though, I actually like this antenna. I think it's overpriced. I've stated that a lot of times. It's way overpriced for being a 41 with 7.6 meters of wire, but it's a good antenna. It's well built. It's well constructed. But
if you I'm sorry. I was just
go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to mention that it does sometimes it becomes off-putting because there's a lot of community support here. You guys have some people watching right now. I don't know how many. I can't see those numbers. But also you have people who consistently watch your videos, join your Discord, and it's really appreciated. Although it's very difficult sometimes to be able to show your face and to keep coming back into this genre when there could be some really nasty comments. And sometimes I feel personally really saddened that I have a hard time looking at my comments now. So there's people asking questions in there, and sometimes like I won't respond for months because the trolls have gotten into my head is what I'm trying to say. And I recognize that we have such a great support group. We have a great community. Like I look at Matthew and I got to go do a POTA with him, like in person. I think it's cool. 45 Auto's been there for a long time, but it's really sad that those comments are borderline obsessive compulsive. And the fact that he had to keep going at it, but that's not doing any good for the community itself. We could just ignore it, but sometimes we're humans too, like you just mentioned.
Yep.
We say don't feed the trolls, but sometimes it's just annoying, and you just want to get back to the guy.
I constantly feed the trolls, and I thrive upon it. Usually.
There's a German YouTuber who basically recently deleted his whole channel because the trolls, the haters, got under his skin. So
I think I saw that. Just
recovering, and I hope we'll be back.
And I guess what I'll say though.
Months.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were finished. My apologies. Yeah, hopefully he will be because I think I saw that too. And what I just wanted to conclude with real quick, though, is I think that sometimes people have even seen my attitude change, and I almost take everything as aggressively now. Like I take it like as everybody's. I use Lionel for an example. Lionel never did anything. Lionel, I love you. But like if Lionel said something in a comment, I might be like, what does he mean by that? You know what I mean? Like I've almost had to like... Yep. Be on the defensive, and we should never do that in our community. So I do think that it's unfortunate that happened, but also like you guys watching right now, all of us, I'm sure, would agree. Thank you guys for watching and all your support and being so supportive when some guy is just trying to show off an antenna that he did pay money for.
Exactly. And my point is kind of, okay, we show ourselves on YouTube for a varying amount of people, and people sometimes think they have an impression of who you are, but when it all comes down to it, we're just regular people enjoying making content.
And this is a hobby for at least for some of us. I know some here or some people make money of this, but that's not a big majority. So it's the same as like with POTA. You couldn't do POTA without the hunters. Although some of the hunters are behaving really badly and destroying pileups and whatever, the majority of people are really nice. And like it would be possible to make videos without viewers. And I guess most people here have made some videos that don't get very many views, but still, it is.
Yeah,
some
that's
people,
my videos. Don't worry.
yeah,
Oh, my last video is also a flop. So everyone, please go ahead and watch that, because that's
releasing
not
on
performing
this
at all.
weekend is anyway a bad idea. So I was
Yep.
really
yeah.
glad to do this.
I noticed myself that my view count has halved over the last month. So that's interesting. So there are changes going on. Good things and bad things. And same way, a really good comment, a really nice comment, can also be very helpful.
That's
Like
true.
people that say something nice about the video, or maybe you help them or something like that. So that's also the same. Just try to leave comments on other people's videos. That's even better than just giving a thumbs up. Leaving a comment that gives so much more.
Absolutely. And speaking about making money, I don't know about you guys, but I can be totally candid about this. I make about $100 a month on my content. And for that, I spend somewhere between 15 and 20 hours per week.
Yep.
So and I actually spend more money than I make on it.
Yeah. Oh.
Same here. Or I don't make any money, zero. But I do make a lot of purchases.
Yeah.
I'm a solid 2,000 euros in the minus, with camera and microphone and audio interface and cables and adapters, and it all adds up. I mean, it's all fun and part of the hobby, yeah. So, but I think my camera is more expensive than the rig. And of course, I would not have needed to buy it, because you can make perfectly fine videos just with your smartphone.
Yeah. But we are not by any means professionals in this. We're regular people making content to help other hams and to show our aspect of the hobby.
Yeah. Some of the most giving ones were actually the streams with you over there, other Kjetil. Like the streams we had with the live CAD design and all of the comments in there. That was really interesting and community feeling.
And there are very good videos and streams as well here, Till. I found the Fusion 360. I learned something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry.
absolutely, I learned something as well. I think the Fusion 360, yeah, absolutely. But so also though, without these guys continuing to make videos, maybe I wouldn't have learned about parametric settings. You know what I mean? Like, and I have a really good idea for it, but I wouldn't have been able to get this to where I'm going to go with it without watching a video. If he's not going to be happy with what's happening in the community and he doesn't want to make videos anymore, I probably never would have had the ambition to continue making this design. Try not to say anything.
Let's face it, there's so many interesting things out there. There's so many interesting amateur radio. There's so many interesting things to do with your 3D printer, with your video editor. You can't, by design and by lack of spare time, you can't be an expert. You're just randomly dabbling in different things that interest you and try to do the best that you can with the spare time you have available.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And I just want to say that we're in some way the modern Elmers not to elevate my position in any way, but I mean, you, Sean, while I was getting my license and trying to learn about the hobby, your channel was one of the first channels I came across. And I've helped people through getting their license and helping them through that. And that is actually what really drives me through this. Knowing that people actually learn something and that they're able to do something from the advice that might not always be really good, but from the advice that you're trying to give nonetheless.
And that's actually really encouraging to hear that, Morten, because when I did that Parks on the Air activation with Matthew, already, when I first rolled up, or he rolled up and he got out of his vehicle, the first thing I saw was an LB0FI shirt.
When he sent that picture, that was just, this is so worth. I felt that it's so worth doing what I'm doing when I saw that.
That was really cool. Yeah, because it was like a big circle. Now to hear that, like you watched my video, you see what I'm saying though? Like it just kind of goes in full circle. That's really cool to hear. So those are great moments. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm still wondering who bought the iPhone case from my merch store, though. I can understand buying a T-shirt, but a phone case, they're just there because I can. But someone has bought an iPhone 13 case, so please, if you're the one that did that, let me know that, because that is also a little bit warming.
I still have an iPhone 5. Sorry.
I also have an iPhone 5, but that's somewhere in the basement, and I don't think that would work.
I'm having a bit of a controversial, tricky question for all of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think most of our audience is in the US, yeah? Why do you think that is? Is that because all the, local Europe hams are, in the 60, 70, 80 plus, a little bit of a problem with English? Or why do you think we have most US?
Is it though, Morten, you have the statistics for our viewership? Is it true that most of our viewers are?
I think so. For the European hemorrhage, I've
maybe the Norwegians are also very strong
into that, but for my channel,
I don't think we have many, French, German, Italian, the usual suspects.
No, I know that I checked our podcast statistics last week because that's just a byproduct. But it turns out that a lot of people listen to our podcast, and there's actually about 1,400 Americans regularly listening to our podcast.
Wow, that's impressive.
If we had any clue what's going on in ham radio here in Europe.
And there's one Japanese person regularly listening to our podcast.
Thanks to that guy out in Japan.
Yeah. The thing is that doesn't fill me with confidence about the way I present on camera. The fact that we have about 10 times as many listeners as we have viewers. But all right, yeah.
but actually, I mean, on my channel, about 60% of the viewers are from the United States. And then Great Britain and Germany are my second and third largest countries in viewership.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. So I would, as an American, I think, I would have to ask, how are the resources available to you in like Norway or Germany as far as radio goes? Is it very, because where I'm getting at is like when 10 years ago I got my license, and I didn't know where to go. I knew to read a book, and I knew that there was this league out there. But I knew there was things as clubs, and I felt that the clubs, we talked about this a few weeks ago, right? Were kind of standoffish. So I didn't really know where to go, and turning to YouTube could be a very good solution. So maybe they turn to YouTube and they see, they find you, and maybe that's why it's more Americans, because maybe there's a better, I don't want to call it support group, but there's more clubs, or there's more, it's easier to get the answers where you guys are. I'm kind of curious.
I think it's, if you really want to look for how to get licensed and all the resources, you're going to find them in Norway. But I've been thinking about getting licensed for a lot of years, and I did not really know anything about it until I saw a post on a scanner group on Facebook during the pandemic, where it turns out that I had bought both some free time and financial opportunities to get into the hobby, and then I started to get it's easy if you are a ham, it's easy to find all the resources, but if you're not, it's a little bit more close than I'd like to see it. And I'm hoping to put a panel together for my Hamfest in June, about how to recruit new hams and see if we can find some strategies together. If I can get enough people to be on a panel. So if you are Norwegian going to that Hamfest and want to be a part of that panel on stage, let me know.
Oh, Chatel.
No, I
Yeah,
want to join in the panel, but I also joined in somewhat the same way. I moved to a new part of the country, and I drove around just to get acquainted and find some geocaches. And I found a weird building with some antenna masts on it, and I knew what a ham radio operator was. I always wanted to be one. I never knew how to, and I saw just by chance that they had a sign on the wall with a "Do you want to be a radio amateur? Send an email here, and we'll get you on the next course." And that's what got me into this. But firstly, like, if I didn't know what it was, I probably wouldn't have answered that ad, uh, like, because of how it was, like the wording and like how little information it was. So we do have a long way to go with community outreach and to modernize what people see our hobby as, because the thing you'll see on TV, that's the classic old ham with a huge antenna array in the garden, sitting with all the radios in the world, probably pipe or tube based and so on. And we're not good enough at showing off the rest of the hobby, and what we can do and what all the fun things you can do. So that's something we need to be better at reaching out with.
I think that to show off the hobby to people that haven't really seen it, other than Flexness, which is a Norwegian character on TV, I think the portable operations that we do in parks and even on mountaintops or with the people on it, I get so many people asking me questions, intelligent questions, really wanting to know. And I'm not saying that convinces them to go out and get their license, but it gives them an idea of what amateur radio is in a way that they probably didn't know. As you say, Kjetil, they envision old men talking about their ailments on 80 meters.
But this is a multi-stage process, though. First of all, you need to let people know what ham radio is. And then you can think about recruiting people. And I don't think the Norwegian League, for example, has a broad recruitment policy. We're going to try to recruit everyone. I'm not a believer in that. I think you got to narrow it in and pinpoint the communities, such as makerspaces, as you did your stream about today, Sean, where you find people that would be interested in electronics and communications and science, because this is applied physics. Don't let anyone fool you. Ham radio is applied physics.
It's don't call it magic, though.
Exactly. I was just thinking.
It started to turn out up outside, so I had to escape indoors.
Yeah, and I was out when I did my rove today. I was out in one of the parks, and it was a really forested nature preserve. So we had to strap the antenna over a creek and up in the trees on the other side, and there was a couple stopping by and wanted to know seriously if we got any fish, because they saw the mast, and we started explaining what it was, and they were really interested. And I explained Parks on the Air, and the lady says, "Well, this is like Pokemon Go for adults, isn't it?" And that's so spot on.
That's great. Yeah.
I usually compare it with geocaching or stolpejakt, which is something of the same. You scan a QR code hidden out in nature. It's a Norwegian thing. We have lots of programs like this where you get points for going somewhere. or doing something in a specific place. And a lot of people do that. And when you compare to that, then they understand why you drag your radio there. And you explain that this is maybe 10 minutes of your 2-hour hike. So it's not like that much of your hike. It's just something to do while you're out.
It is, and it's a way. As I said to that couple today, it's an excuse to go outside and play when
Yeah.
you're an adult. And for me, it's often the sole reason for getting outside during the day off and actually seeing other people and doing something. Because, as Hollywood says here, he finds most hams being introverts, and I am, even though I'm on YouTube, I'm introverted as the next guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, the correct answer to the question about the fishing, which is really common, is that it's for flying fish, at least if you're on a summit. That's the only kind of fish that's close by.
But I usually compare it to fishing, though, because you kind of figuratively throw your line out there to see what you're going to catch, and you never know if you're going to catch anything and what you're going to catch.
Yeah.
I've compared it to fishing, but there's a big difference between the people that are fishing as a hobby and radio, at least the portable radio people that has that as a hobby. If you find a really good fishing spot, you tell no one. You sneak away to it. But the ham radio community, when they find a new trail to a summit, or when they find a new park or a new nice place to operate from, they will tell everyone willing to listen. So there's no secrecy. There's no trying to keep anything to yourself. Basically, everyone I met in this hobby just wants to share, limitless sharing of information and ideas and everything. That's when you compare it to fishing, I think that's an interesting difference, I think.
And Bob, I would agree with you, because let's use KB9VBR, for example, Michael. I don't know if he was the one who came up with it, but I remember that his video was like really out there about the Faraday cloth. And, he let everybody know, and everybody went out and bought the Faraday cloth, and it's working great for a lot of people. Like, it's not like the secret of the world that we're not going to tell anybody. So we have the advantage, and sharing that critical knowledge and information. And I think what I really like about radio is, that allowed, for example, Ben, I was just talking to in the stream, to create a Faraday, cloth antenna, and so like sharing these ideas is, hey, or, the 4-to-1 Racope, it's a great antenna. It does well. It's short, it's small. And people are like, that's exactly what I need for my short. It really helps everybody out. And I think that's the cool thing about the community.
And
I agree.
And we actually see with the Rubikov antenna, it was at a point where it was me, it was Tim, it was Walt, and it was Mike and 2MAK that talked about Rubikov antennas. And then suddenly the other show started making a Rubikov antenna that they don't actually call a Rubikov, and suddenly everyone's interested in a Rubikov. But there's no magic to it. Just to get back to that, let's see if I can remember what we said backstage. What that crappy rectum said. I think I can say that on
yes,
on YouTube.
Yes. You may.
Rybakov, I always think about the guy playing a violin or something like that.
Is his name Rybakov?
No, it's Rybak.
All right. Yeah.
Rybakov is derived from Rybakov. It means fisherman or fisher.
Yeah, it means fisherman, but it's actually an Italian design.
Yeah, but that kind of thing makes your hobby grow. And if it's that, or if it's a 3D printable design that people can download, or if it's a PCB for something you can design, order up, and get made for yourself, that's things that help you a lot. So that is nice to have, that we're sharing that much.
Yeah.
Again, that's back to the old Elmering. If you look at all of the old-fashioned magazines, the paper things get every now and then, people actually print things and send around drawings, and they've been doing that for over a decade in some countries.
Yeah.
And that's our hobby, sharing information.
Sharing is a big part of the hobby, and helping people to thrive and grow in the hobby. And I'm by no means an old ham, not by age at least, since I'm a youngster compared to a lot of hams. And I've only had my license for 3.5 years, but I've learned an incredibly amount of knowledge through those 3.5 years, and that's mostly through YouTube, and that's the reason I have the YouTube channel, because I want to show people that you don't need to be, excuse me, a grumpy old guy to have the answers, and you don't have to have all the answers. You just got to go out there and try.
Yep, and have
Sometimes
fun.
you have to let the smoke out.
Yeah,
But
then you have to have fun.
the chances of letting the smoke out in a modern radio is not really that big.
Yeah,
You got to
I like
operate the
kit building.
equipment really bad.
I've tried, you know.
I had
I
my
think I let the smoke out
Retavis.
of my FX4CR, in fact, but the designer was nice enough to admit that was his fault and send me a new PCB. So yeah, I managed.
My Retavis also had some smoke emitting from it.
But you put that smoke in first from the roasting it on the bonfire.
No, this was afterwards, after I split it with log lever.
Oh, oops.
That battery was really, really warm, and then it started smoking. I didn't film that. So that is
Yeah,
bad.
You should not underestimate your lithium polymer battery packs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those will
They
go
don't
up.
react well to getting pierced.
Yeah, it's weird. But this wasn't pierced. This
It was just split with a log splitter. So
Yes.
They should cope with that.
yes.
and I see that Big John's Ham Shack says that he couldn't get in earlier here. I'm not sure if we've had any troubles or not, but I'm sorry about that. But we have all the episodes on backlog on YouTube, and most of the episodes on a podcast.
How many episodes do we have now, by the way?
We are.
We forgot. We had our episode number 50 last week, and we forgot to celebrate.
But we are celebrating next week or the week after that, because that's going to be a full year. It's a 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. It is. But next year, next week, I'm not going to be here though. So
Next week I think next week is 52. So that's just the first year. Week after that, that's the 1 year anniversary. I think.
But we have had some weeks off. We haven't actually had a single week
we
off
haven't.
because the 1 week off we actually made a show there as well.
Yep. So and that's fun. And I think this is a bit of a journey as well. Like growing a community and seeing so many people in there. I think we're close to 300 people in the Discord. Not everybody are active, but there's quite a lot of people that are active, chatting and sharing information, going live or asking for technical help or whatever, which is really nice.
I agree with you.
And it's a nice Discord, and it's not too big.
Yeah.
And I know if
I mean, of course, compared to Josh with gigantic Discord channel, you're just a blip. But
but that means
it's
that
always nice conversation.
And you can actually keep up on what's happening in all the channels on our Discord.
That is very nice. I usually find any sort of online forum just extremely annoying. But for some reason the Discord hasn't turned into a. I'm probably not allowed to use that word, but that word.
Rectum?
No. But no, I'm not going to use that word. I've been told. Our Discord it's a surprisingly nice place to hang out. It's an online forum where I actually look forward to checking up on what's been going on since the last time I was there. So huge thanks to all the people that take part in that.
So Ken, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can read it, and then I'll respond.
Yeah. UTV and Ham KD9W and V is saying that he's 3/4 done installing antennas on the roof, but he needs help to finish. And my experience, I don't know where you are except for a general location due to your 9 call sign, but my experience is reach out to the local club, and there will be at least 4 or 5 older people coming by, as long as you have coffee to
reach out to your local ham radio, dude.
80-year-olds on your roof to install antennas?
Say that again.
Do you really want 80-year-old people on your roof to install antennas?
I have had people, not quite 80, but I've had people in the 70s help me, and that's worked out fine.
So if I could go,
mostly by helping, I mean pointing, but
yeah, you're doing it wrong.
but actually, seriously though, reach out to the local community, and they will help you in some way.
So Ken is close to me. And in fact, he owns one of my antennas. So, Ken, shoot me an email and let me know what you got going on. You know, we don't need to make a whole episode about this, but shoot me an email and let me know what's going on. And obviously, I can't climb roofs because of some problems, but I'm sure that we can figure out a solution and get you taken care of. And like I said, you are local. So Ken actually went to my Parks on the Air Wisconsin meetup last year. So
yeah. then you can actually talk to Sean, and you'll find a solution. I'm sure there is a solution to every antenna problem.
So if you live in Wisconsin and you need help getting an antenna up, just get in the comment section on the European Ham Radio Show, and Sean will show.
Then I'm right here.
This is an international hobby.
You had to go
either Sean
more
or
simple
Shane,
than that,
Shane
right?
will
It's
show
totally
up.
obvious. This
You
is
had to
what
go all the way to Europe to find me, but also it gives me an excuse because earlier, I know this is completely like not related, but we're talking about. But earlier, Morton, you mentioned that you never knew that Illinois and Wisconsin were like so scenic, right? And if I get to go visit him up in Madison, I can go to this spot here. I'm going to try to share this window with you. Hopefully, it works out.
Let's see what happens. Yep.
And that's Devil's Lake, Wisconsin, and that's just north of Madison, Wisconsin, and it's a Parks in the Air location, but it's also the Ice Age Trail. Sorry for the horrible photo. Of course, I was trying to do panoramic, and I shake like this all the time. So, but yeah, you know, I think you get the point there that there's a lot of beauty in Wisconsin, and I would love to go.
I was actually kidding a little bit though, because I've said this before. I actually love the Midwestern landscape, and I love the flatness of Illinois. How weird that seems to anyone, but when you're on a chair and you can see cornfields going into the two next states over, there's something beautiful about that.
Sure.
You live in some place somewhat like that now as well, Morten.
Now this is not flat compared to Illinois, and you might think that Denmark is flat.
No,
but
it's not.
I can tell you that Denmark is not flat.
Oh, Denmark is up and down a lot.
Yeah,
average wise is flat, but it's not. Locally.
But I mean, the Midwest is I would believe it's some of the flattest places on Earth.
I've never been over to the States. It could be interesting once to go there, but not now. But for some time, maybe I would like to. I was really hyped up on reading a lot of Morgan Cain novels when I was a kid.
No one outside Norway knows who Morgan Cain is, I think.
Oh, he's actually been translated to like 70 languages. So
but they're Western novels.
Yeah, it's about the U.S. Marshal called Morgan Cain, and they're written by a Norwegian guy who had never been in the States or something like that. But they are really good when it comes to description about the landscape and how beautiful it was and stuff like that. So
this from the Norwegian that's never been stateside.
Yeah. It looks like the videos, one really interesting thing today. It's pollen season over here from trees, and today it was like fog in this location. That was spruce trees, and it was like dense fog, down to like 90% visibility due to pollen in the air. It's so insanely dense.
I had the same thing in Sweden. The view was obscured by something gray, yellowish in the air. And your clothing, when you got down from walking through the forest, you would do this to your clothing, and this cloud of yellow things would just emerge from it. Really strange.
I now have a yellow car.
Yeah.
Wow.
I washed my car on Thursday, and by the time I was done hosing off the second side of the car, the first side that I washed was just as yellow.
There's gonna be a lot of forest fires this year. I believe it's already started. It's insanely dry out here.
Yep.
So that actually makes me a bit nervous when it comes to radios. Should you get a spark of one of your batteries, for example, or a battery fire outdoors, lithium battery fire, that would start a major forest fire here at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
We could do. Go ahead.
I would say just leave the log splitter at home when you go portable.
Yeah, I usually do, but you never know what can happen.
Yeah. Sean, you had a comment.
I hope I didn't forget. Sometimes I was talking about it on my last stream, exercising caution with even like your end fed, because if you have two wires that are close together, you might get that spark. And when it gets extremely dry out, I lived in Arizona, so it was super dry there. Anything could cause a forest fire. For example, a guy, his spark went off of his welder, and it set the forest on fire around our whole community of like 200 people, so they had to evacuate everybody. But just a little spark, even from an end-fed half wave, could potentially create fires. And I just kind of caution you and that too, if I have to be the dad.
Yeah, and there is. It's not orange fire hazard here, but where I live it is, and it's been windy and insanely dry, and that makes for some interesting things. So I've been on SOTA summits before and seen brush fires below me, and I remember also one, like the yellow grass you get each spring, like the grass that's been there since last year. I was on a SOTA summit, and the day after, that entire area was scorched by a huge grass fire. That was like a few days fire. That was kind of woke me up to the dangers of going out there in this kind of weather. Because it's not only winter that's scary, but being stuck on a summit like that can be quite scary if you're in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree.
So our piece of advice is to everyone that be sure that you don't start a fire when operating portable.
Yeah.
And I would go as far as say that don't connect up your battery every time. Use power poles, XT60s, or something that usually don't spark if you operate it properly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
QRP.
Yeah. Don't use a
Reduce the
spark
chances
gap.
of arcing on the antenna.
Yeah. Don't use a spark gap transmitter.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground today. Everything from trolls on the internet to how to recruit new amps and forest fires.
Yeah, and like the temperature today was the highest I saw in the shades here was 27 degrees, which for Norway is really hot.
Yeah, it's been really warm, and I think I've got a slight Norwegian tan, which is usually to the reddish side.
Yeah,
today.
That's 81 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Which is for Norway, at least in May, it is hot.
But we haven't had any spring this year in Norway. I went straight from winter coat to t-shirt.
No, over where I live, it's been comfortable for a while. But this cabin here, it's not insulated, so it gets 50, 60 degrees Celsius indoors when the sun is on.
Yeah,
which is uncomfortable, at least.
That's not unlike my car. When I sleep in my car when I go on expeditions, that's I usually wake up at it's somewhere between 50 and 60 Celsius in the car.
Yeah.
I actually see that my high point today
incredibly unhealthy.
was 25 and a half degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So
yeah. We're at the same temperature then, because here right now it's 26 degrees Celsius, 79 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're all at the same.
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys in hoodies?
It's t-shirt.
We don't have air conditioning. That's
It's so
why.
cold.
I actually do have air conditioning.
I have 2 units. They're both in my attic, not connected.
And you know, that's a really interesting thing too, because when I moved to Europe, I had lived out there. I didn't realize it wasn't really a common thing to have air conditioning out there. You know, you kind of take it for granted until you need it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My air conditioning is actually a byproduct of the heat pump I use for heat in the winter.
Interesting.
But I can just flip it around and use it to heat the outside instead. So then it gets colder on the inside.
So
It is a proper air conditioning unit, though. But the thing you said about air conditioners, I had the same experience when I came to Illinois in 1994, and everyone had air conditioners. And when I got there, I thought, well, everyone's rich in America because everyone has air conditioners. And then it took me about a week and a half before I understood that air conditioners over there is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
It could be.
And that's why you need an indoor jumper like the other Kjetil, yeah?
Yeah.
Because it's cold inside, right?
And it's like different for here. Many people have heat pumps, but most people heat their houses with electricity. And I
No.
guess like we don't have oil burners are banned. That's some legislation that came in from
talk to
some
me.
interesting country.
I'm evil.
Yes.
But the guy on the show from the greenest country in Europe that actually made oil burners illegal in Norway, you're running an oil burner, aren't you, Tobias?
Exactly. When it dies, I also need a heat pump.
I think it's kind of funny that we don't consider heat pumps as an electric heater, because basically what it uses electricity to.
It uses electricity. It's just a lot more efficient than using a regular oven.
Yeah, but it doesn't work when the power is out. That's
no. And that is why you have a wood burning furnace or a fireplace or something similar.
Yeah, I have two of those, but I have nothing to put in them. It doesn't really help.
You know
burning
that
wood still allowed, right?
Yes, it is. But you have to have
let the heat pump run till I don't know -5, and then when it gets really frosty, dogs in.
Yeah,
I actually use wood for most of the heating, and then I use the heat pump for just keeping a stable temperature when I don't burn wood.
Yeah, I talked to some Australians once, and they had air conditioning in the seats. They didn't have seat heaters like we have. So there's some strange localizations. Like we have these heaters, and some like the wood burner here at the cabin. Somebody said it's not efficient anymore. It is. It's really efficient at burning things. It's not efficient at getting heat out of it, but it makes them disappear.
Yeah, I would guess that if that cabin is about the average size of a Norwegian cabin, it makes it really hot inside as well.
Oh yes, it makes it way too hot, and then it's way too hot for a long time, and then it's ice cold again. So,
and we're actually past the hour mark now. So let's recap what we've learned today. We've learned that don't be a crappy rectum or an internet pro. We've talked about how to get people licensed, how to help other hams, how to mentor other hams, that you shouldn't start forest fires, and how to heat or cool your house. Yes. I think that pretty much sums it up. So
that you can do radio on the beach.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we are pretty much, except for Walt coming in on the intro, we're pretty much the anything but the Hamvention show this week.
He did well.
Even more than usual.
And we have a surprise for you next week, because Bob is going to run the show next week. I'll be absent and at work. So I think the topic is going to be, what will Bob ruin this time?
Yep. I'm why we can't have nice things, by the way.
I'm thinking the topic is more, what does this button do?
Oh, I just got the best thumbnail idea, so I'm going to start working on that straight away.
Yeah, experience through experiments, and we're going to get to see Bob stick a fork in an outlet.
Yep.
And Steve, you can find out where everything has been in Dayton by watching every other YouTube channel out there.
Yep.
In summary, look at this Hamfest.
Yeah, but then again, there will be a Hamfest show when I do my Hamfest in about a month.
And that's almost as big as Friedrichshafen.
Yeah, I'm shooting for an attendance of 150.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not 1,000, but 150.
We're going for quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, please do remember the TEHRS PODA meetup in July. There's a channel for it in our Discord, hamshoweu.discord, and there's actually a sign up form there, and that actually helps me figure out if it's worth going along with the idea as well. And it doesn't really matter if we're 3 or 13 or 30 people. It's still going to be a lot of fun. So check out that channel. 7-3, guys, and see you next week. Thanks for being on, Sean.
Hey, thanks for having me. Y'all take care in the chat there.